If there's one thing I know I can bet my life savings on, that's there will be some spring blueing dollars on some river in the West. They're there. You just got to search out and find them. Every year you'll see them on them. And I find them most places on spring creeks. The problem in the spring is that runoff is making it difficult to fish our favorite rivers. That snow's melting. Our favorite tailwater river and our favorite freestone river are just so high it's extraordinarily difficult to fish. However, spring creeks are where I like to be. In some cases are open by regulation year-round, and almost all spring creeks have a good, solid blue-winged olive mayfly hatch. I search out these places, and this is where I'm going to hunker down and wait for my favorite rivers to settle down off of spring runoff. So my main option during runoff in the spring is to search out and find or return to these great spring creeks that almost every state has, every mountain range has. The artesian water that flows without runoff year-round.
Hey, Mike here at Northwest School of Fly Fishing, the old fish hobo. It's spring, and I'm here to talk about where do I fish in the spring. Before I do that, though, I'd like to recommend that you subscribe to our channel. It keeps me out in the rivers doing these kind of things for you. And I have a lot more videos coming up like this. Go to our channel. There's quite a few videos there in regards to fly fishing and nymph fishing in general. So subscribe, and I'll keep making these for you. Well, I want to talk to you today about where I fly fish in the late spring, early spring during runoff. Rivers are here where I live in Idaho, man, these rivers get blown out. We're right on the base of the Rocky Mountains, and our freestone rivers just get massive high, and I call it a raging mass of brown goos. Extraordinarily difficult to fly fish those kind of rivers when you can. Sometimes there's so much snow you can't reach them. And the other are our tailwater rivers. Again, our tailwater rivers, they got to release that water, and now you've got normally that runs 300 cubic feet during the winter. That's now running at 5,000-6,000 cubic feet, and it's running so that we can fill all our canals. And then, so we're really limited to where we can fish. The neat thing about spring, and why I really like fishing in the spring, is it's the blue-winged olive mayflies, the Baetis mayfly. They're size 18s. Some holdovers from winter are size 20, but I find them almost on every river. And it's really important that you understand that no matter where I go, I'm carrying my blue-winged olives and all of them that I have, because most of the places I fish, you're going to find a blue-winged olive hatch going on. It's just knowing where to go and how to do it. Your typical options during runoff or high water during spring, a lot of us just, it's float tubing season, and it's time for us to just get on the lakes, get our float tubes out and our gear out and all our flies out, and then we drive to these reservoirs, and that's where we're going to fly fish. It doesn't matter what our rivers are doing. We can, what we call still water fish, and we can do that. And then there's bass fishing. And certainly we have, certainly where I live, there's quite a few places where we can go fly fishing for bass. Here it would be smallmouth bass. But all in all, every once in a while there'll be a tailwater river coming right off the bottom of a dam that's not high, and they're there. You just got to really look for them. A good way to do it is just get a map, the old-fashioned map, and look for these waters, and then go to USGS and certainly find out what their river flows are and go from there. I don't fish anywhere anywhere during the year without checking their water flows. So USGS is a good chance. It's a good way to evaluate the river flows in a river. And I know one tailwater river that we have close to home where I live, at least a couple hours away, where it's flowing at 50 cubic feet. Most tailwater rivers are in the thousands of cubic feet, but it's at 50 cubic feet, and there's specific reasons why. It's going to be like that for 3 months. So I find a lot of my time up there. The water's clear, and there's fish in there. So there's other options, but my number one favorite place to fish really is spring creeks. We happen to have quite a few spring creeks here where I live, certainly in the west, in the northern areas where I live, but I cut my teeth fishing on the Kern River, and there's spring creeks all up and down the high Sierras. Just got to find them and look for them, and you'll find trout. And what makes spring creeks so important to us as anglers is they're artesian water. They have nothing to do with runoff. They're fed by Mother Earth. Runoff typically doesn't affect spring creeks. So we get the same flow rate, cubic feet per second, in a spring creek in spring as we do in late summer. And I search out and find those, and I go fish them because there's the blue winged olive hatch there. So my number one place that I have that I want to fish are a spring creek. And fortunately, there's quite a few around me that I can drive to within an hour and a half from where I live. I know there's a spring creek here in southwest Idaho called Silver Creek, and it's considered by some anglers to be one of the world's greatest, certainly one of our nation's greatest spring creek. There's quite a few others that are as good, but Silver Creek is very famous. It's not uncommon for me to go there in the summer and not see a single Idaho play. They're from out of state or somewhere else. That's Silver Creek, and it's a spring artesian creek, and it's very weird, but the river, that creek's closed. But Silver Creek is made of 3 other spring creeks, Loving Grove and Stalker, make up Silver Creek, and all those spring creeks have fish in them. And there's certain sections of Silver Creek that are open year-round, and those are the places I go to and search out. So look for those things. The clues of where I fly fish is I'm going to be on a spring creek. I'm going to be on a tailwater that's not releasing its water. I'm going to be bass fishing. I don't rarely float tube anymore because there's such a lot of options out there for me to do. And by the time I get done working these waters, the water's starting to come down now. And there's some rivers out there you can actually fish at high water. You just want to keep your nymphs or your flies close to shore. So if you've got nothing out of this video, you should be able to get on a map and start looking for these places that live around you, and find them, and then go fish them. And if I'm lucky, I'll see you on the river.
For many fly fishermen, spring marks the beginning of the season for them. It's time to get out into the warmer weather. It's time to dust off our gear. It's time to get back on the rivers and streams that we fly fish. And then there's runoff to deal with. For me, it's really simple. If you're looking for me, you'll find me on a spring creek.